You're listening to Whoa! Potluck.
Welcome to Marvel Makeup. I'm Quincy.
And I'm Kay. And this is a podcast where I teach Quincy a little bit about Marvel.
And I teach Kay a little bit about makeup.
Watch out, there are MCU spoilers ahead up to where Quincy has seen.
Yeah.
Because we're watching them in order and we're trying to reveal things to Quincy as she has seen them. And today we have a awesome guest. I'm trying to get to that part of the script. She is an actress, writer, and creator who has appeared on Madam Secretary, Grey's Anatomy, Snowfall, and in The Soloist with Jamie Foxx.
She also co-created, co-wrote, and starred in the award-winning dark comedic series, Susane Land. Please welcome Susane Lee.
Yay! Thank you. Thanks
welcome,
for having me,
Suzanne.
Thank you.
We are so happy to have you here.
Yes.
I'm so happy to be here. Oh my God.
So yeah, welcome. And just to start off, today we're talking about Captain Marvel, but we want to know, what's your relationship with Marvel, or just like the Marvel movies in general?
Yeah, I would say I really love the big blockbuster movies. So I don't catch them all, but I catch a lot of them. Like huge, I loved Iron Man, all the Iron Mans, Endgame. So I catch them, but there's definitely some that I have not seen.
Had you seen Captain Marvel before?
Oh, yes.
Okay, yes. Cool.
Yes, I have.
Awesome.
So I rewatched it and it was just as amazing as the first time.
Great.
I have to agree. This was amazing, and I cried 3 times.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yes.
This is a good superhero movie, and it's nice to see a woman get a full arc as a superhero, and also not have a romantic storyline. They always put a romantic storyline with women, and it was nice to see her just have her own hero's journey.
Yeah,
true. I would say if there was some romance or love story, it was almost like a friendship love story, because her relationship with Maria Rambeau, it helped her kind of rediscover who her true identity is. It was and so I guess your overall take of Captain Marvel is like, you're a fan.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like Quincy, like if it makes me laugh, it makes me cry, I'm going to go laughing out loud. I mean, like, I love like just the subtle humor, the deadpan delivery on some of these lines. I was busting out, the cat. I love the cat.
The cat is great.
Isn't the cat? Goose was just amazing. I still will get into maybe like, I don't understand why he scratched his eye. I mean, it was
cats can be finicky that way, though.
Really?
Aren't they,
my cat, no, yeah, my cat will come up to me, interrupt me for cuddles, and then be sick and tired of him 2 seconds and then yell at me. She'll hiss at me to be like, "What are you doing? Stop touching me." And I'm like, "You came here. Do not gaslight me into what this is or isn't about."
Okay. Well, I've never had a cat growing up.
Persnickety.
That makes sense. Because I was like, up until that point, the cat was so social, like friendly, loving,
Nick, right?
I was like, where did that come from? What did he do?
Give it too much love. It was like enough.
No,
like, you're being too thirsty now, Fury.
Exactly.
Stop it.
Exactly. My favorite was when it just barfed the tentacles out of its mouth, because it was just like so cute, and went bleh.
Yes, because they did say, like, when they scanned them, they were like threat level super high, and I was like, yeah, and I couldn't remember. I was like, yeah, right, this little cat, and then I was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Threat level high.
They called it. It's a flurkin. Apparently,
flurkin.
Yeah, its alien name. Well, cool. So let's just keep diving into Captain Marvel. It was released on March 8th, 2019, directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who are a directing team.
To talk about our time space continuum, Kay, I know that was only 2 years ago, but now things are starting to feel further and further away as we get closer to 2021. 2019 was like a lifetime ago.
It was literally 2 years ago.
I know, but March 2019, that was like when we were still innocent.
Well, and so we are nearing the end of phase 3, and just so in the timeline, there were no Marvel properties that were released in 2020. So when we're talking about Captain Marvel and these other movies that were released in 2019, after this was pretty much like a barely big stopping point for the MCU, because then for a full year, nothing else was released until 2021.
But the TV shows were released, right? Like WandaVision.
Not until 2021.
Really?
So yeah, nothing.
So a huge gap.
Yeah.
Time is melting.
Time is melting. Yeah, that's the way to put it. So yeah, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who are a directing team, they directed a film called Sugar. They also have directed a lot of TV, like The Big C, The Affair, Billions, and they co-wrote a movie called Half Nelson. That was actually the film that I was most familiar with when I looked at their credits. It was like this Ryan Gosling movie where he like mentored like a young African-American girl. But they only wrote that movie. In terms of the writers for Captain Marvel, they co-wrote with a bunch of kind of well-known blockbuster type female writers, Geneva Robertson Dworet, Nicole Perlman, and Meg LaFave. So, as these Marvel movies tend to have kind of like, they have kind of teams of writers who kind of all collaborate and work on the script together, since, they also develop them over a good amount of time. And then, just in itself, Captain Marvel was pretty groundbreaking for the MCU. It was the first MCU film where there was a solo female character in the title. There was, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and she was a female character, but this is the first time it's just a female leading the movie and titling the movie. And it's the first time they've actually had a woman in the director's seat, as Anna Boden was there. Even though she was co-directing, she was the first woman to be in a director's seat on a Marvel film.
Excellent.
And also to get you in the mindset for 2019, since, this is a very female forward episode because it's Captain Marvel. Some highlights I wanted to mention were that in 2019, that was kind of like a big year for Lizzo. She had her breakthrough hits, Juice, Truth Hurts, and Good as Hell on her album, even though it was her third album.
Dominated 2019. Yeah, her music was everywhere.
Yeah. And then it was the year that Lily Singh became the first person of Indian descent and the first woman in 30 years to host a late night talk show on a major network, with her show A Little Late with Lily Singh. And the U.S. women's soccer team won the World Cup versus the Netherlands in France. Wow. And it was the year that the House of Representatives, Democratic House reps known as the Squad, kind of debuted that photo where all of them were together. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and Ayanna Pressley. So that's a big year for like women in other areas as well as Captain Marvel coming out.
See, and I feel like AOC has been around forever. Like she hasn't been around only for 2 years. That means she's only been, that's when Squad debuted, not her debut, right?
Well, right. But it
was pretty close.
Yeah, that was the year that she did get into the House of Reps.
See, it feels like she hasn't been in government for only 2 years. It feels like she's been in government for a lifetime.
For a lifetime? She's pretty young, though. She's pretty young.
Yeah,
this is true.
Yeah. It does feel that way when you're just like, the amount of like, response that people get, that she receives when you just hear like, Alexandra Cortez, people are either like, yes, or like, to only be around for a short amount of time and kind of create that reaction.
Yep.
Much like Captain Marvel, came near the end of the phase 3 MCU, but still, I would say one of the most powerful characters in the MCU.
Agreed.
The girl straight can fly through spaceships
with no oxygen tanks.
missiles, like completely knockout missiles. Like,
yeah.
the whole planet. Yeah.
So Susane, for you, what's your like favorite, besides, it's huge that it's a female lead. She, isn't co-starring with anyone. What is your, I guess, favorite thing about Captain Marvel?
I also loved the fact that it kind of like highlighted the fact that the whole like fall down 7, get up 8. Like I love the history of the past life, showing that as a child, she was constantly told no or bullied, like she just couldn't do it, And then I just loved that trajectory of saying like, despite these obstacles, I am going to keep on my path and be the badass that I am. That's what I really love to see. Like she didn't let all the naysayers stop her from pursuing what she really wanted to do.
Yeah.
That was like really powerful.
I agree. And the fact that kind of like that drive and that inherent power, literally, they couldn't take that away from her, even though her memory was wiped. They replaced her blood with Kree blood. and I feel like Yon-Rogg, Jude Law's character, kind of had that weird kind of like creeper relationship about like with her in the terms of like, I gave you my blood.
Yes.
I
made you.
I made
whatever.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have, you need to prove to me you won't let your emotions like,
I also
overcome.
It was interesting as you realize she's human and part of, who's the one who says she keeps trying to do the right thing in spite of like orders? Oh, Nick Fury says that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then you realize, oh, she's like this because she's human, right? It's not because she's like hot tempered or whatever. It's because she's human.
Yeah.
And I just thought, man, then like Jude Law's Yon-Rogg just like has gaslit her for the past 6 years.
True.
Yeah. Like, this is a flaw about you. And you need to fix it and get it in control versus like really teaching her how to harness that for good, right?
Yes.
Like it's that thing of taking your biggest weakness and turning it into something you need to agonize over.
Yeah. Into your, and learning literally that your weakness is your power.
Your strength.
Yeah.
Yes.
And which brings us to an interesting point, because Quincy and I have discussed before how in other movies, Earth gets this reputation somehow in the universe of like everyone wants to conquer Earth for some reason. And they're just like, what's so great? But you have the fact that even in this movie, the fact she's human, the fact that she has this inherent strength in her, it's part of her humanity. And maybe that's why, Earth and humanity are such a golden goose to all these omnipotent powers out there in the universe who are constantly wanting to like conquer it, because these dang humans, they just won't give up.
Yeah. And what another thing I loved about this movie is like underneath there's like also that social consciousness, like of like the battle between the Krees and the Skrulls. Like I thought that was so great because you're on one side rooting and then you're like, oh my God, it's so, the way we perceived it gets completely flipped. And it's kind of just like the whole thing about like whether you're an immigrant or refugees. I think that ultimately it's like home. Everyone wants a home, and we're all like in this together. We have this one planet. Let's all like, so I love that. It wasn't like in your face, but I just thought it was a beautiful.
Very good light touch without like overselling what was happening. Yeah.
And how and the thing is, it's like on the one side, you're like, okay, that is a very powerful like skill to have, like in terms of the Skrulls, like they can be anybody, they can shapeshift. So it's easy for them to like deceive you and betray you. But it's like, yes, but the fact that they're immediately demonizing them for that is like, you're realizing, oh, that's on you. That's on you to have.
Yes.
It made me think there's a documentary called Exterminate the Brutes. And I think a Black filmmaker did it. And he initially wanted to talk about like the history of slavery, but then he realized it extends even further back. And what he pretty much articulates is like, no one actually wants to like kill people, right? But the minute you turn them into a brute, like an animal or like subhuman, it's easier to extinguish whatever, right? And it made me think of how the way they talk about the Kree before, like, oh, these like green shapeshifters, right? And so it immediately you disconnect from them as anything but that until then you see what's his name?
Talos
with his family, and all he wants is to be with his family.
Yeah. And like Susane, you said, like for them to have a home, for them to be free and safe. So a lot of like, kind of cool things underneath it. I believe we all watched it on Disney Plus. I don't know if you guys noticed, but during the Marvel flip, where they show like usually they show clips from all the different movies. This time they showed all of the different cameos of Stan Lee. It was because this was the movie that had gotten released after he had passed. So they changed the flip to reflect that. And his cameo in the bus, that's one of his last cameos in the MCU, because it had been shot before he passed.
When you say it is one of the last, Kay, are you saying there are other lasts? Like they shot a bunch before? I don't want to spoil it, but it is one of, I will say at this point, one of the last, because we do have 2 more movies in phase 3. Oh, okay. So this is true.
I have a question for you. When he's in the bus and he's saying whatever the line he was saying, is that specific to a Marvel thing, or was that a reference to anything that was?
Yes, I think he's saying Excelsior. He's
saying truth, like truth, something truth. It has to do like
forget. It was like
be with you, truth. Like, be with you, truth.
Yes,
something
it was
like
repeating. Yeah, I think it was Excelsior.
Well, I do remember. I forget the exact line. I probably could look it up. But if you notice, he's reading a script called Mallrats. Do you guys know Mallrats? It was a movie directed by Kevin Smith. Set in the 90s.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it was directed in the 90s. He did make it in the 90s. So Kevin Smith, huge comic book fan. He did Clerks. He did what's his other big one? He did Dogma. So he like big indie film director, but in Mallrats, Stan Lee cameos in Mallrats as well.
Oh, so was that a line he was learning his line from?
He was learning his lines for that movie.
Okay, he says.
Got it.
What he says is, "Trust me, true believer."
Trust me, true believer. Yes, yes.
Okay.
And so in the comics, he would always write a letter to the readers at the beginning of like the comics when he was writing them, and so he would call the readers true believers.
Oh,
so that they also use that line in the movie. When
It's also, there's this whole article. I'm not going to get into it because it's a lot. Apparently, it's also to hint that Stan is a character that has a connection to the alien race known as the Watchers. It was also like a shout out to Kevin Smith.
Yes.
Yeah. A huge shout out. And then there's like another. Yeah. This is really cool.
Yeah. That Easter egg goes deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not just like a boop. It's like,
he's reading the script for Mallrats, which was a Kevin Smith movie, which he also cameoed in. And the line is referenced to like the letters and the whole thing with the Watcher too is, a whole other, I mean, slightly, it's lost spoiler, but there is, a connection to phase 4 in terms like of the Watcher. The Watcher is a character that we will see at some point. The fact that Stan Lee is kind of connected to them is, even though he's now passed, like he still obviously will live on through these characters and all of these movies. Rest in peace, Stan Lee, but they dedicated the Marvel flip to him, which you see right at the top. And then you just dive in seeing, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, as Carol Danvers, or Veers, as they call her. It was crazy because I had not seen her in many things before that. But I did remember she had just won the Oscar for The Room.
The Room, yeah.
You guys see that movie? That movie is dark.
I read the book. I I read the book,
She's
so I was
so
like,
good.
I can't watch the movie.
Yeah, she's incredible. I forget, there was another movie, an indie feature that I saw her in too. Who's dealing with?
She's also in Westworld, right? She's the lead.
No, that's Evan Rachel Wood.
Yes, that's Evan Rachel Wood.
Yes, never mind.
Well, and then the other roles I had seen her in where she played the ex-girlfriend of Scott Pilgrim in Scott Pilgrim versus
Okay,
the
see, I didn't
World.
see that.
And then there was this
She was in that. I don't remember her in that. Oh,
yeah,
I was in high school or something when I watched it.
Yeah, she was like it was fun. She was funny in it too, because she was like, she was the ex. So she was the one who was like a singer, and then she ended up dating Brandon Ruth's character, like the blonde dude who was a vegan. Do you remember that?
I just remember the guy, what's his name? Michael Cera and Ellen Wong. Because I was like,
oh yeah.
An Asian lead in a movie.
I did not see that one.
That's one of my favorite movies too. It had so much style. Edgar Wright, you know.
That's a good movie to shroom to, I feel like.
I mean, kind of just watching it sober makes you feel kind of buzzed. And then the other thing I had seen her in was like the short-lived television show on Showtime with Toni Collette, where Toni, I forget what the name was. It was created by Diablo Cody. Toni Collette played a mother who had multiple
United States of Terror.
Yes.
Is that it? Or
yes.
like
Yes.
that?
She played the daughter of Toni Collette in that.
Really?
Yeah. So she had to deal with Toni Collette's different personalities. And like,
that's what United States of Terror was about. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what I thought it was about, but I did not think it was that.
Yeah, it was a really interesting. I mean, Toni Collette was amazing in it because she was literally playing like 4 to 5 different characters over the whole season. But like Brie Larson played the daughter, and she had this obviously like a very kind of like tense relationship with her mother because she was having to deal with all their different personalities. But I just remember her being like really strong in that. And then, eventually Captain Marvel.
Yes. Oh, it was Short Term 12. I looked it up. That's where I had seen her in.
Oh, what was that about?
It's like where she's like it's like a residential. She's overseeing like troubled youth, I think.
Oh, right. It's like a hospice or like a home for.
It says a young group, a supervisor of a group home for troubled teens. Yes. And it's her first lead.
Yes, and she was excellent. She was excellent in that.
Cool. So, a little more indie kind of like
sidebar. Rami Malek was in it. Like,
yes.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
So, Brie Larson comes out. She is Veers. We're introduced to Annette Bening as the Supreme Intelligence. We're on Hala, which is the Kree civilization. And, Jude Law is Yon-Rogg, who is kind of her mentor supervisor. Eventually they go on their mission. Digimon Hansu plays the same character that he plays in Guardians of the Galaxy. Did you notice that, Quincy?
I was like, wait a minute. Isn't he like, I couldn't remember because my memory is Swiss cheese. I was like, wait a minute, he's a bad guy. I'm like, what? Because it's that whole back and forth of how he's ugly but actually really handsome. That scene, right? That's
exactly.
I was like, wait, isn't he a bad guy?
Well, he is. Guardians.
Yeah. But I was like, wait, no, he's a good guy. I was like, man, my memory is really bad. If I thought he was a bad guy and now he's a good guy, like, yeah. But then when we see what's his face, Ronan, I was like, then I got confused again. I was like, wait.
Well, that's how you kind of realize like the cracks. They're not the good guys because Ronan, who was the bad guy in Guardians of the Galaxy, is kind of actually their boss. Because he's like, a Kree leader. And you're just like, oh no, he's definitely bad. So something is definitely up here. And then what's interesting is like you have Gemma Chan playing Minerva, but
that was Gemma.
Yes. I didn't notice it until like I think later, but I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, Gemma Chan, I was like, oh, that was her. She really like gets so disguised. Like I didn't even really recognize that it was her.
God.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she was Asian. An Asian actress was playing her until like at the end, they have like I think it's the the fight, the pilot
when they're
chase.
She's after them. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then there's like a shot and like it's just straight on. And I was like, oh, I think that might be an Asian. Wow.
Yeah. But she's in Eternals. And that's not the same character. So
different character.
So it's a different character than the one she plays in Eternals. So it's very, very interesting, like how you have,
which is interesting because you wouldn't think MC Marvel would do that, like cast.
Is she a positive, like a hero, like on the different side, the side of good?
Eternals, I believe she is. Like I haven't been going out to the theaters yet, so I haven't seen Eternals. But based on what I know from like the trailers, they are the good guys.
I think she might be hotter as a Kree person. I think she's hot. Period. But
she didn't have like this very kind of like punk rock look with like the side ponytail, kind of like the kind of almost shaved side of her head, you know? Yeah.
This makes me love her more.
Well, yes, she's a very, very, very beautiful actress, and very. I think, I think from this, like, she's pretty mean. She's like kind of sassy and kind of like a little bitchy. So I thought it was like good for her to be kind of like. Because I remember her in Crazy Rich Asians, she had like this very like princess.
Yes, subdued.
Yeah,
not gonna really.
I loved her in Crazy Rich Asians. Oh God, I love her.
And then one of my favorite parts I think about Captain Marvel is how it's set in the 90s, and they really pulled a lot from like the culture there, then the music,
time. Guys. Wasn't that a great nostalgia? I was like, oh my, no doubt. I was like, oh my God, all this music. Oh yeah.
I think they were all mostly women-led bands. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
So. It was like TLC, right? No doubt.
Waterfall.
They talk. They did the Marvelettes. Oh, by the way, I could listen to Samuel L. Jackson sing all day, any day.
Oh yeah, wasn't he fantastic? He must be
so good.
He must be, right?
Yeah.
I was like, more, please.
Yeah, I was like, I would listen to listen to him sing it. Yeah, for anything. I was like, wow, he has a great voice.
Truly.
Yeah,
like a great singing voice.
And what's great about this movie, Nick Fury has been, an anchor in the MCU since the first end credit of Iron Man. This is the first time we see kind of like chill, fun Nick Fury, because
and his origin story, kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
So it kind of
where he gets his patch.
He gets the patch. He's still kind of like, he's in SHIELD. He's not the director of SHIELD yet. He's just kind of like one of their, regular spies and, one of their lieutenants. And you get to see him kind of be more fun and more casual and like, jokey, instead of kind of like the stalwart and kind of like serious Nick Fury that he is in all the other movies. And, they use some really interesting, like de-aging, CGI to make them look younger
when they went back, right?
Yeah, since it is in the 90s.
Okay. What they can do now, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. I actually saw a really interesting...
Wait, question. Do you know, Kay, if like that's all in post, or are they wearing something on their face a la like mocap to have that done in post?
So they do this thing where they put like dots on their faces.
Got it.
Oh, interesting.
So they're like reference points when they do the post later as VFX. So they know kind of how they can manipulate it, It's pretty interesting how far the technology has gone. So just even when you're filming just someone's face later on, I mean, the whole thing with like the Irishman, that's kind of what they did there with like, de-aging all of the actors in that movie as well. I think that's similar technology. And they did a similar thing with Coulson, who shows up as well, because he, was originally last in the Avengers, in the MCU, but now because this is the 90s, he's starting out. They call him the rookie, so he's like very, very new to SHIELD in this movie. And I love how even back then, he followed his gut. What was that?
Yeah.
He's a squishy person.
Yeah. He followed his gut. He doesn't like then when they're like, dead or alive,
right.
He's like,
and
what?
he lets him go down the,
yeah. So he was able to, follow his gut and also trust himself and not adhere to shield like this, which becomes this overwhelming, bureaucracy at one point, which in itself becomes very problematic in the MCU. And then you have like great, the support of Carol Danvers' actual story. I loved how they started digging into like, Lawton, Annette Bening's actual character as Marvel, who was like a Kree undercover who was helping the Skrulls. And then you meet Maria Rambeau, her best friend.
How great was she? I thought she had such a strong performance. I was like, oh.
Yeah, me too.
When they first
that
meet.
best friend speech.
Yes.
I was like, what are you doing to me?
So good.
That was one of my favorite parts of just like how great to have someone after you've been like lied to and like you said, Quincy, gaslit for 6 years and you're struggling with like, who am I? Yeah. To have her be like, I know who you are and I'm going to tell you. And
it was such a great play on like the past. I feel like Susane, we kicked off with like her memories. And I just thought this was thematically was a really good way to set everything up. Like it's set in, what is it? This is the only one after Captain America that they've like done a time jump back, right?
Right, where it's technically in the past.
The past.
1995.
Right? Yeah, in the 90s, right? So like I just thought with the theme and the past and like your history, and then just to have someone from her old life, her history come and
be
like
the rock, like hold her. Yeah.
And like ground her in that way was really cool.
Yeah. And then also, the Maria's, daughter, Monica helped out with that. I feel, she did, it's so, one of the things. She's
so cute. I cannot wait to see what they do with her character.
Well, and yes. And so she does come back. And I think
I had a feeling she does. So I can't remember. Okay. She had to.
She plays a very prominent role in Phase 4. So that's all I'll say for now,
cool.
Quincy. But I think also going back to how like they were, this was the 90s. So even though that wasn't that long ago, it does feel like a period piece in the sense of like, you have Blockbuster.
Oh yeah.
Videos
like
on
video stores,
And then I love that they put like iconic DVD covers behind her. Like I couldn't see all of them, but I was like, oh, those are all like famous covers, like those iconic ones you can recognize immediately.
Yeah. And just the experience of going into a Blockbuster and like, seeing just the cover and being like, having to decide, is this what I want to spend my weekend doing? Watching this movie.
Like there are generations who don't have that experience, like don't know what it was to have like video stores where people rented games from video stores too. Yep. Like it's like everything. Like there was like the new release wall. There was and I was just like, that was a great place to just browse. Immediately hone in to be like, oh yeah, this is the past because there are no video stores now, really.
No, I mean, since the advent of streaming, they've very much gone away.
Do you think you'd have to explain that to your kid now?
Probably.
Like if you were a parent now and like you'd have to be like Blockbuster.
I mean,
video. I'd be like, what's a video?
Yeah. What's a video cassette? What's a VCR?
Right.
I mean, they even have that scene where they're having to play the black box audio on a CD.
Wasn't that was great? That
you're like, what is it doing? Loading.
What is it doing is downloading. I love that side character. I don't know what his name was. Talus's little.
They did him dirty. Oh my goodness! I was like, did they know they were gonna kill him? Did he know? Because I was like.
I know. I thought that was so terrible. That was the one thing that was like devastating. He was
and they didn't talk about it.
And I loved his like reactions. He was so funny. I was just like, what happened?
And then they just iced him like that. And no one's like, hey, we said he was our bait trap diversion. Like, what?
So long. For the scrolls, he was like, I
took one for the team.
Take one for the team.
No. No, that did not sit well with me. No.
Yeah.
Well, we'll pour one out for the scroll science guy. we recognize your contribution.
And then also it's like interesting because excuse me, like as you know, Tallis reveals like why he's here. I was like, and now you're funny. Like what?
He was. He was great. His timing and this delivery, just simple. Like I was just like, who is this guy? I had to like search him. Like
Ben Mendelsohn is the actor's name.
I looked at him. What else has he done? Because he was brilliant. I was like, I bet you he's done so many things, and I just don't. I'm really bad with names and faces and people, but I was like, wow, he's great.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one of those where like you've probably seen him in a ton of different movies.
Many things.
Yeah. Yes. And then you're just like, oh, and here he is with this one role, and you're like, oh, he's fine, actually like shining for me, you know? Yeah. And I will say, I thought it was interesting because like, it's almost like as Carol's perspective is changing, that's how you see more and more what the scrolls really are. Cause like, you know, first she comes in, she's like, Kree, scrolls, bad. Oh, but then as she's learning more and, you know, being revealed, like, I don't know, I'm actually human. I'm actually from here. That's how we end up. It's almost like as her perspective clears, we get a more realistic and like truer perspective of who the scrolls are and like, you know, what the actual, what their actual mission is and what their actual want is.
They're not also, by the way, Ben Mendelsohn has been working since the 80s. FYI. So
probably makes sense.
I love that perspective. That's a very cool perspective. Okay. I love that read on, you get to see them clear, like before they're just evil goblin people. And then as her, you know, it's funny because if you want to talk about theme that Susane touched upon, like as she arrives home, she starts to see things clearer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and nice way to tie that in, Quincy. I love that. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And again, like, you know, Monica really helping with that, like showing her actual pictures of her in her past and like, you know, the things they used to do together. And then, you know, and just a lot of the fun, you know, 90s references like Internet Cafe, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This is like, yeah, we were setting this in the 90s. I really enjoyed that. And then, you know, even though, you know, the scrolls were the bad guy in the beginning, there were some really great action scenes. I love the train scene near close to the beginning where, you know, she ends up punching the lady in the face.
That was great.
Which is, you know, again, like a very cool kind of interesting, like take on, or kind of like contribution to kind of like how she was perceiving herself, how others are perceiving her. Like, here comes this lady dressed in a laser tag uniform, punching an old lady in the face. And the people on the train are like, what? They're trying
to help the old lady.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you know, who is Captain Marvel? Is she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? Like, you know, she eventually has to figure that out for herself.
But how did she know the old lady was the target? Like,
so they showed like the old lady bumping into her.
As she's like lost, she like bumps into her, and then she gets on this train and is like,
and then
I
sees
just
her.
Saw you outside.
Oh, I missed that. I was like, wait, how did she know? Okay, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
like
and
her instinct.
Again, which, you know, the scrolls, very, very powerful skill, like to become anyone. So you have to be very like suspect. You know, like when she was talking to the neighbor and being like,
Right. Oh, that was great. Yeah.
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 And like, you know, treating him so suspicious. And then Maria had to be like, I'm so sorry for her. Like, and even like when she's closing the door, she was like trying to eye him the whole time.
Look. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, eventually we get to the truth. about Marvel, and her getting the powers for the core. How it's Yon-Rogg who actually kills Marvel.
It was a great. I don't think we've seen this yet, right? Where the baddie is a flip. Like we generally know, like the baddie is the baddie from the beginning, right? So it was a nice flip to be like, oh,
right,
was the bad guy.
Which did on you? Yeah, that was it was a good surprise, a nice surprise.
I will say, like in Guardians 2, you had the dad who at first was
you kind of knew something was a little off with him. I feel like this one was like, oh, you genuinely thought he was on her side.
Yeah, she literally was coming from the dark side and had to step into and pretty much disregard and kind of leave behind everything that she had learned to know, to kind of like step into her power. And then you have just that great final end sequence of where they find the lab. Maria gets all the scrolls on the plane, and they have that great dogfight with Minerva, which kind of shows off Maria's powers herself as a pilot as well.
Right.
One of the clips that they kind of show a lot whenever they're doing like MCU kind of like sizzle reels is the part where they her and Carol are in the memory, and they're like, higher, further, faster, baby. Like that. That really kind of showed how kind of like Maria and herself was just like, I am also badass.
Yeah, they're tight.
We are badasses here. This is what we do,
Yeah.
And then they talk about how it was during that time that they weren't able to do combat flights. So that's why they worked with Marvel, or the Captain Lawton, because that was kind of like the most dangerous and most riskiest mission that they could do.
Yeah. I love that they finally, when you see her flying around in space, I was like, man, what a great way to pay off her like little girl's dream.
Yes.
And I love how Monica was just like, you should definitely go, otherwise you don't know what kind of role model you're setting for your daughter. And she's like, damn, girl. It was a guilt trip.
Would you go though? Like it is real. I think for the moment that's great, but I'm like, that is a real not a problem, but a concern to be like, I may not come back. And she doesn't come back, right? Doesn't she fly off to space with the Krees?
No, I mean, she comes back, but
oh, that's right. She does come back at the very end.
Ends up taking it. Okay,
never mind. Yeah, there for a second I was like, oh no, she's gonna have to pilot this, and like, what is Monica gonna do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and she, I feel like in her little, it's almost kind of a little mini arc for her, because it's like, the last time she saw Carol, she thought Carol was dead, along with Lawton or Larson.
You guys go?
I mean,
you guys go if you had a kid.
If I had a kid, if my kid was acting like that, I'd be like, okay. But if the kid was like, please don't go, no, then I probably wouldn't.
It reminded me of, did you guys see the inspiration launch?
No.
They put all the civilians, they had a team of like people launch on in orbit, and it was the same thing, because one guy like won it through like a lottery on like the Super Bowl, and so he was given a seat position. And it was the same thing, seeing their family deal with it. But I think it's because of some of them, it was just a lifelong dream, and like that's what they wanted to do. But they had children, and they're like, there's the like going in, but coming back is even more dangerous, coming back, entering the atmosphere. So it's tough. I could see like the wives like tearing up, like the like people, it's just like the kid. I'm just like, oh God, that's so tough. But what do? You have to like, you have to let them do their thing too.
Yeah, it is the opportunity of a lifetime, and if it is like your passion, so you have to like, what's the risk, and am I willing to take on that risk?
Right.
And then we finally, when we get towards the end credits, you see Carol, she becomes Captain Marvel. She's glowing. She takes down the spaceships.
Rips down her,
one of my favorite scenes in the MCU is her just kicking ass and shooting those missiles and going through those ships. I just remember when I was watching that scene in the theater, being like, she's so powerful. Like, I
great. This is a very great in theater movie to experience.
Yes, for sure.
I also thought this was the first time. I mean, it's from comics, but something about how they shot that when she's a Firebird going apeshit. That was the first time where I was like, I really felt the homage to the comic books. I don't know. There was like one shot that really stuck out, and I was like, oh, this is, I don't know if they pulled it from original comic book. There was this like just one like action superhero shot that she's coming up, and I was like, oh, I can see where this came from. Like, I can imagine what it looked like opening the comic book and seeing this female superhero like on the page. It was a really cool moment.
Yeah, just like epic quality in like the image and just in the scene overall. And then we get to the after credits where you have Fury, not confirming or denying what happened to his eye.
Yes.
And then writing the Avenger or Protectors protocol until he shows he happens to see that her call sign was Avenger. So that's why he renames it the Avengers Initiative. And then the Flerken throws up the Tesseract.
Like she's kind of okay. Wait, time out, because we talk about Captain America being like the first Avenger,
right?
I would disagree.
Yeah,
based on this, I think she's the first Avenger, right? Because that's like what inspired his brainchild.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean,
like it's the godmother of the Avengers.
Right. Yeah. It is definitely a debate that people have had. Like is she the true first Avenger? Because her call sign created the initiative. But though the other side is it like, Captain America was made during World War II, which is technically earlier. So since he was the first enhanced, as they would call it, is he the first?
What do you think, Susane? Do you think would you start your lineage with Captain America, or would you start it with?
I feel like she's the inspiration. So like, I think she would be like over. Yeah. You can't say like. Yeah, I don't know. Like literally, I understand what you're saying. Like Captain America,
he was first. Like he's the first superhero.
I think the inception, like that, should take credit. Like she was the launching pad for it all.
Yeah, because
the Avengers is like Nick Fury, right? And like we also get his origin story in this movie as to like how the iPad, everything.
Yeah. And it was his idea. What these Avengers was his idea. So the fact that she birthed it, she inspired it in him. She could technically be not just like the first Avenger or the mother of the Avenger initiative. Yeah.
And then I mean she's been gone for like what 10. How far is she gone when she comes back?
That's a good question. Yes.
So we see in the after credit because the
beeper dies.
The beeper
is no longer juiced. Yeah.
Right. Which we originally saw that beeper at the end of Infinity War. You saw Infinity War, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. When they disappear and it like drops
oh my God,
off.
this isn't the ground. Oh my God.
And so as his final act before he goes to dust, Fury activates the pager.
Oh, that's so funny, Kay. I literally was like, you have not used that beeper once. Like there were so many times you could have called.
She said emergency. He said emergencies only.
Yes.
So Kobe almost like what?
I mean, but he had his Avengers by then. He technically had his team. But so like,
I mean, there was a wormhole, and New York was going to get sucked up.
This must be so fun to watch it the way you're watching it, Quincy, though, because I there's pockets where I miss, so it must be really fascinating to see it.
Well, it's kind of it's starting to mush a little bit, even though we've like spaced it out pretty well. But when then Kay like jogs my memory with the beeper, I can remember.
Piece it together. It's like how it's all connected.
Yeah, I had a friend who also guested. He went back over COVID and watched them in like order, like Iron Man 1, 2, 3.
2,
like
3.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was really cool. Yeah, no, it's been really cool to see all the threading. And I definitely probably would have missed and forgotten a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
If I had watched it like in actual real time.
Yeah, because
That's
there
so
were like
cool.
There's a
usually
lot.
3 came out a year, so there was a lot of time in between. But you were seeing them pretty like every couple of weeks or so. So
Wow.
yeah. But I think you're right though. Like there's so much to take in each movie. Sometimes those details get a little lost. But like, yeah, at the very end, it's post snap, post Infinity War, post dusting, and then they're just like, who's on the other side of that pager, and then you see Captain Marvel
Yeah, that was great.
show up, and she's like,
So
Fury.
good.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So I think that wraps the Marvel portion of the podcast for today. Let's go ahead and transition into our stretch and share, where we stretch and we share a little bit about our week, our little highlight. I think I have a stretch for today.
Okay.
Let's just do some neck stuff. Oh yeah, my neck has been popping just like very easily. So I could use some neck stretching. And Quincy or Susane, you have a highlight you want to share for me?
I have a share. I almost saved a kitten yesterday.
Oh,
I'm going to go back tonight and save it.
Where did you see that?
I was looking for parking, couldn't find parking. So I went home, and while I'm like doing a busting a bitch, I see this like kitten pop out. I'm like, I'm gonna say that cat.
Oh
And it was like probably like 8 weeks old, and it came right up to me, which is like a dream. This would be
hello.
This would be the second cat I save. It's cute. It came right up, let me pet it.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know if it's just like, it didn't have a collar, so I'm gonna try to get it and see if it's microchipped.
Do you have a cat right now? You already have
I do.
a cat?
I can't keep this cat. My cat is a huge meanie. I rescued the cutest little kitten. It was like this big 2 or 3 years ago when it was like pouring, and I just heard this cat meowing. My cat went up and punched it in the face.
Oh no!
Oh my god! Like,
your cat is a flerken. Your cat is a flerken.
Bringing this one home.
Yeah. I can't keep it. But they came up to me. And then I should have like scruffed it, but didn't. So it like ran away, but it was so fine. It like went over there and like cleaned itself. And I would have gone after it, but it was like a dark alley. So I was like, I'll just come tonight to try to save it again.
Oh my gosh, get that little kitty.
Yeah.
Savior of the kittens. Quincy.
Yes.
Yes.
Suzanne,
do you have a share?
Okay. What I'm dealing with, I don't know if it has to be positive, but like insomnia.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting? I've never had a problem sleeping. Like I cannot pass out anywhere,
Me
anytime.
too.
And lately, it's like crazy. I'm like up. I just can't sleep. And I'm just like, I'm just dealing with that now. It's just very bizarre. I don't know. Maybe too much is going on.
Is you want to sleep, but you physically cannot?
I think I'm just lying there and I'm like super alert. Like, So someone was like, well, maybe you should start reading because reading something might put you to sleep. But maybe if I'm up, I'm alert. So then I actually just feel like I should do stuff. I should like take care of like whatever, emails, blah, 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 do stuff. But it's just crazy. It's just, and also I'm feeling like maybe I shouldn't, like when I do get tired, I shouldn't just like crash out on the sofa and then move to the bedroom. I'm like going to try just like when I get that first sleepiness, are you
tired? Have you been like, then the flip side is like, you haven't been sleeping. So are you tired in the mornings and during the day?
I think in the past I can pretty much operate on very little sleep, but like, I do kind of feel like I'm a little exhausted earlier than I normally am. Because I would say I was a night owl in general, but lately it's very, very strange because I'm just still like up. And it's like I just can't sleep, and I know I'm wanting to sleep. It's just like I'm just super alert. Like,
have you tried anything like
no
CBD
somebody tried or melatonin, things like that? Yeah, I haven't tried anything yet because I was like, maybe this is just a weird off week.
Oh, it's just been this week?
Yeah, it's just recently.
Do you have any like things coming up?
I don't think so. That's why I was like, well, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just too much going on with maybe my sister, like helping her out, doing so many things. My brain is maybe just like on fire, but I don't know. I feel like.
Do you have a sleep ritual? I heard that helps.
I don't.
Like so to signal that like it's rest time.
Rest time, yeah.
Like having like some kind of pre-bed ritual.
Maybe I should incorporate. What do you guys do?
No. Okay. What I really should do if I'm best self me would wash my face when I'm not tired. But sometimes
that's the problem
I'm
too.
literally like, I will say I will always wash my face now, but I'm like,
but that wakes me up. I do it when I'm tired and then I'm like alert.
And then I'm just like, and I just want to go to sleep versus like enjoying that. Cause I literally, yeah. And that's what I would do. And then I would read because like reading really helps me.
That's what I heard. I tried that versus getting on my phone or whatever. And that just stimulates.
It could just be that too. Yeah. The light and the phone.
Yeah. The light and everything.
I listen to podcasts. So technically I don't listen to podcasts because I fall asleep because they help me fall asleep. So I don't end up actually listening to all of them, the whole thing. But yeah, I would have trouble getting to sleep because my mind is just still going and still thinking about things. So podcasts would help me focus on something and I would just focus on their voices and what they're saying. And then, and then eventually I just kind of go out and my brain stops. But usually like I'll fall asleep and then like an hour or so later, I'll notice that it's still going and my earbuds are still in. So I'll just quickly like take them out and then put it aside and then I'll go straight back to sleep. So
wait, question, Susane, have you tried just being like, this is not healthy? Just being like, let's see how long I can stay up with sleep. Just being like
pushing yourself until you're.
Have you tried that?
Yeah, I should probably try that. That might be a good experiment.
Well, best of luck to you in your sleep.
Yes. Thank you.
Maybe drink a glass of milk. I don't know. I don't know if you like milk.
No. Or I feel like I tried just drinking a lot of water, but then eventually I kept getting up because I'd have to go pee.
So that's right. Yeah.
Well, my share for this week is that, Shang-Chi came out on Disney Plus.
I can't wait to see it.
I saw it and I thought it was great. And it was really, really fun. I don't want to talk about too much because I don't want to spoil it for you, Susane, but really, really, really.
I heard nothing but amazing things.
Yeah,
so
super strong. A great introduction of a new character into the MCU, and I can't wait to see where it goes. It's a whole new avenue.
Can I say something? And this is not a spoiler. This is just a fun detail I noticed while I watched it. Did you notice, Kay, that like his his final Shang-Chi like warrior outfit is a version of his valet outfit?
Kind of, yeah. Because they're both red and
they're valets. Yeah. Look at it. It's just like it looks like he's in a cooler valet outfit.
I'll look for that.
Paying homage to his humble beginning.
Yeah. Oh, and if you do see it on Disney Plus, like they also have this thing called Marvel Assembled, which is like documentaries about the making of the movies.
Yes.
So I even watched that. They had a Shang-Chi Shang-Chi documentary.
Gosh.
So they talk about like the origin of the costume and stuff like that. So I can see how that similarity might have been purposeful.
I think it was just too close for it not to be intentional.
What's the name of the doc?
The series is called Marvel's Assembled. And then the sixth episode will be the making of Shang-Chi.
Oh my gosh, how fascinating.
Yeah, they also pretty much have released a Marvel Assembled doc for every phase 4 MCU project. So there's one for WandaVision, Falcon, Loki, Black Widow, all of them. What if? Yeah.
You probably covered it in a former podcast, but what is the phase? How do they break down the phasing? Is it just by time period or?
It's mainly, phase 1 was like up through the Avengers and then
6 movies, right?
6 movies. Phase 2 was kind of up through like the second Avengers, pretty much. And then phase 3, which is actually the biggest phase so far, it's actually twice the size. It's the size of phase 1 and phase 2 combined.
Wow.
Was through pretty much through the most recent Avengers saga. And all 3 of them together are known as the Infinity Saga because a lot of them pretty much have to do with all the Infinity Stones.
Got it.
Yeah. And, if you look up, it's broken down pretty much chronologically by how the movies were released.
Okay. So how many total phases are there?
There have been 3 completed phases. We're now in phase 4. So Shang-Chi is part of phase 4.
Phase 4. Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
so that wraps our stretch and share for today. Now we're going to dive into the makeup portion.
Oh
which
my gosh.
is
Graphic eyeliner.
eyeliner.
Oh my God.
I remembered our thematic poll, Kay, and here
great.
it is. It is. Sometimes you got to get in alignment to who you are to figure out your powers.
Oh, I like that. I didn't really know what graphic eyeliner meant. So when I looked up, when I was trying to think of a theme to connect to the movie, all I saw was I Googled what is graphic eyeliner, and it just said drawing more, using eyeliner to draw more. Okay. I was like, okay, so maybe it can be the theme that we're like drawing.
Great simplification.
Yeah, we're drawing more from things we've already known in the MCU and expanding on them because we're kind of things that have kind of already been there. We're learning more about them and adding to it. So how are we going to explore graphic eyeliner today?
Graphic eyeliner. I have this and the NYX white one. Black is okay. You can this is fun, right? This is like fun makeup. I love that it was just drawing because you can literally just draw. I feel like this also probably has to do with like Instagram. I only see people like on Instagram do it or like photo shoots and stuff. We can start really basic. I went to a concert and then literally you can just use the wand and draw like a little heart right here on your cheek.
Oh, so you're literally just drawing images.
Drawing. Maybe that's why. Yeah, I don't use I've never used graphite. Is that what you call it? Graphite eyeliner?
Graphic eyeliner.
Eyeliner, yeah.
It's like
cute.
Now, would you, if you had black, because we've used this eyeliner to draw cat eyes. How would you use it to maybe further embellish your eyes?
I feel like I might be giving her credit. I feel like this is like an Ariana Grande thing. It might not be. It's just maybe she made it popular. So the way I see a lot of women do graphic eyeliner, this takes practice and a steady hand. So if you don't get it right the first time, it's okay. I see women do, or like drag queens will also do it, is you can, and this is great because you don't necessarily need to do like a full eye to do this. It's a fun way to hold on, I'm going to try to demo.
I will say, like, I think my social media algorithm has realized I've been looking at more makeup because
is it giving you more ads?
Yeah. I am now getting specifically this site called Metdan, METDAAN, and it's putting like, I makeup tutorial demonstrations straight into my Facebook feed.
Wow.
Where people, it's like a girl and it's just like her eye. And she's just like doing super fancy eyeliner stuff. She's doing like a lot of different shades and like, blending a lot of different shades together. And I'm just like, dang.
No, my makeup is very, very basic. And so I rarely use eyeliner because I'm just like,
Do you use it on both the top and the bottom?
I had it and then I fucked it up.
No, I sometimes I'll do like a little pencil here, but I never do on the bottom because it just smears. I just do a very light one. But then I'm like, then at a certain point, I'm just like, well, you don't even see it. I don't even do it enough where you can see it. So then it's like, well, then why am I doing it?
It is.
Makeup looks great. I don't know if you are wearing any makeup, but your makeup.
I'm wearing makeup now, like a very light, like a base.
Yeah.
And so a little bit of, I did a little shadow, and it looks great. Pretty much the extent.
Yeah. I don't think you need that much. This would be like fun. So what I don't ignore this section here, because I flubbed, I'd have to go back and clean it. But like, this would be a fun way to like snazz up a funky, fun outfit.
Okay.
Here's
and
another.
would you put like, would you connect it from the bottom with a thing like this? Like to the edge? Ooh,
it's literally whatever you want to play around with. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if I could pull that off. Quincy,
let's do that.
It looks really cool. Like,
when's the last time?
Very magazine-y. Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. It's very editorial. Like it's a very fun poppy way. I'm guessing like the younger generation, like Gen Z, probably will not have a problem like popping this on, right? Like I have a powder blue suit over there. Like if I didn't want to do like a heavy eye, maybe just doing like a swipe of this, right? Or like if you have like a hot pink or like an electric green, it's a really not understated, but it's like a cool way just to like put a pop of color on your face without, I feel like, committing to a whole like beat. I was looking at makeup tutorials and they were saying like nowadays, it's like you have like that wet and brown look, which is like that Kim Kardashian heavy beat gloss, like contoured look, or you have like the unicorn poop look, which is like pink, poppy, bold, like lime green colors, cotton candy look.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, but
you use the black. You wouldn't do that with the black, would you?
I think you could. It just it depends on how you want to play with it. I did do a black. You can absolutely use the black one. I did it for a drag show. Again, it's just like figuring out what shape. I think I did it on my friend for the first time, messed up. She was like, we need to erase this. It's more like following the natural shape of your eye. And not doing like, it's not necessarily like a U, right? It's like a softer curve.
I see.
So to speak. Did you guys want to try? Sure. You can start with like a heart. You can do like a little star, just maybe not.
And what is is this like an eye makeup remover removes this? How easy is it to remove?
Yeah. This is like, it's pretty easy to remove.
I would say though, from my experience, it has been difficult to remove because I don't have a oil based eye makeup remover, which Quincy has suggested in the past, because for some reason the ones that I find have specifically said
I love it.
It's so hard to draw, guys.
It's really, that's what I mean. It requires
I'm
practice.
I'm messing up, and so I'm trying to fix it.
It's getting bigger.
Yeah. And bigger. Next thing you know, I'm going to have a giant heart on my cheek.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm going to try what you did, Quincy, of just doing like okay. Yeah. I see that. It's very Ragnarok, very Sakar.
It's really cool.
Apparently though,
yeah, that's great. I love the dots.
I didn't know this, but do not do 3 dots in a triangle. Apparently that's a gang sign.
Wait, 3 dots and then a triangle?
3 dots in the shape of a triangle.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently that's no bueno. I didn't know this.
Now, would you fill in your eyeshadow underneath this, or would you?
You don't have to. No, like, because this is like this. Here, let me look. Like, this is the statement in itself, and it's like, remember, Kay, like, you don't want it to be too busy,
right?
But again, it depends on like what look you're going for. Here, I'm gonna drop in the chat if you guys want to just look.
Get your line so good. You do have a steady hand.
I'm drawing it when my eye is closed, but so when my eye is open, you can't see the line.
So you might have to go a little higher.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not bad, Suzanne.
Okay.
Yeah. And then some people will create like a false eyelid with it. Like, so here, let me see. Okay. So like this girl here, I'll do it on my left eye. Ooh, left eye. Like, so with like edges here, you want to follow this like natural, your bottom line.
Right.
Okay. Oh, looks cool. Okay.
Are you doing that
I like
backward?
Did you do a double? Did you do a double? Yeah.
I did.
Cool.
This bottom one, I realized that when my eyes open, you can't see it because it's in the flap of the eye. So that's why I did the one above it.
I still see it. Yes.
Yeah. When I do this.
Yeah.
This is
like a kind of a porpoise type.
I have to like shape this placement, but like you can do like a fake.
Is that a cat eye?
Yeah, it's not even a cat eye. It's just like creating a fake eyelid, like the shape of like a triangle shape, just to create another shape to accentuate the eye in a different way. But it's smudged. You can see it's smudged because of how my eye folds.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that looks cool. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's super cute too.
And then I wouldn't have to wear. I put a base foundation on, but I didn't put anything on my eyes except lining them. Yeah.
Oh, I like it. That's so cool. So would you go like this asymmetrical? That's cool. Or do you have to keep the same? Like,
I think with this, it's because you're like, I am demoing, but like, again, this is like with graphic eyeliner, it's about more like the fun, flirty. It's not like as serious as like trying to like make everything, I don't think you need to do it like that.
I like your dots.
I think that heart looks really good, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wonder if I do dots here.
I feel like having a bit of like a fish theme here. It's like, this is a fin.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like a bit of a dolphin.
Yeah.
Surf thing.
Yeah. And then, I think it's just playing around with it and figuring out like what shapes accentuate your eyes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I when I look at those videos that get put on my Facebook feed, I'm just like, this girl probably spends a lot of time figuring out exactly
trial and error.
Yeah.
Oh, Suzanne.
I tried the dots on the upper, but I think it's cuter on the bottom.
But again, it's just like trial and error.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like you, Suzanne. I don't like to do stuff on the under eye either.
Yeah. It's just smudgy. It becomes a smudge fest for me.
How are you doing, Kay?
I'm trying to create some type of shape with.
Oh, I hope you guys didn't hear that.
What?
I had my mouth open and just like a pocket of air bubble just like rolled up through my throat.
Did not hear it.
Oh, how? Yeah.
So here, Kay, let me do what you were asking about, like filling it in just to see what it looks like. This is getting messy because I'm not letting it dry.
No, I feel like, it's very galactic. I feel like
that's a good way to put it. Yeah. And I think using like different.
Yeah. It's very much reminds me of Thor Ragnarok and like, Valkyrie's.
Ow.
Valkyrie's makeup on Sakaar.
I just waved my hand and stabbed myself.
Oh no. Are you okay?
Yeah. This needs to be way cleaned up, Kay, but like this is what this looks like with filled in. But see, okay, like it looks really cool with my eyes closed. Mm-hmm. So if I were to redo this again, like see how it's not quite what this looks like. So I would have to go
up higher.
Yeah, I'd have to figure out a way so that when my eye is open, it has this shape effect.
Same shape.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because this is my first time, like what I would do different. This is like probably brought too far, and I'd probably like angle it up a little bit more.
Make it more winged above the eye. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I'm starting to look a little cray.
I mean, I feel like I'm giving myself a prison tattoo, honestly.
Yeah, I think this is one of those where you can go for it a little, like even your winged eye here, you could probably go a little stronger.
Like higher?
Yeah. Oh, Suzanne, I kind of like what you did with the corner of your eye like that.
I don't know what I'm going for there. It's almost I
think I'm running out of ink. How do you?
I think you can just like let it rest.
Like fake lashes. That's what I was trying to go for. Like my little fluttery lashes.
It reminds me of like a 1920s,
if you wanted to do
like fringe.
Yes, Suzanne, I just gave myself fake eyelashes here.
Oh,
I think
my God, that is adorable.
I think for something like this, you'd want to do like a fuller look.
That's so cute. I'm going to copy.
Like a mod look.
Yeah, that's adorable.
You do it. So what I did, Suzanne, to do that was just, so when I do the line, just so you know, I use the brush and I'm just dragging it across, right? I'm just using the wand in its shape. And then for these guys, depending on how fine you want the dot, just go straight in.
Oh, just boom.
Yeah, just straight in. And then for this, what I'm doing for the eyelashes, because I want thicker, is just laying the edge of the brush flat.
Oh, much better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's going with the brush or like countering it. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. If you were to do this with like like a brush that Kay has, if for your cat eyes, all you need to do, like, so if I'm doing like a triangle, let's say this is my eye, I would just use it flat and go boop, boop to create a triangle.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But this brush is this brush is a little bit different because it's a flat brush versus the brush that Kay is using. It's tapered.
Yeah, mine's tapered too.
Oh, then it should work. Mine is flat. So that's why the triangle didn't come out as neat, because, you know, it's following the contour of my face.
Okay. I think I've done my classic gone overboard in order to find the line where the line is. And
the triangle was very easy to make that way.
See?
Thank you. Yeah, just laying the brush.
I feel like this is very like Cleopatra.
Okay, you know what?
Oh,
I think this is actually a very good shape you've created.
Yeah, I tried to make sure I can actually see it when my eye is open.
No, this is great. I wish we had latex. What was the makeup that we talked about last week? Liquid latex eyeshadow?
Liquid shadow, yeah.
That is how you would that is one way you could apply your liquid eyeshadow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is also very like Amy Winehouse-esque.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a really good shape you've created.
Yes, Kay. That is excellent.
I am surprised. I am surprised how actually it does look.
Yeah. It's because it's
like
it's to your eye and it's lifting the shape of the eye. Yeah. And then the only thing would just be using a different like shadow, because right now we can see the eyeshadow like thin, right? We can see like your skin underneath it. So using like a liquid eyeshadow would get you that like fun pop of like boop and like make it even. That's why
almost using maybe the eyeliner just to create the shape and then putting eyeliner in or eyeshadow in.
You just have to remember then, like, you're going to have a black eye outline and just be aware that like, that's what that look is going to be. But that would be a really cool way. And this is why, like, so when I filled in like this, the line, like if you look, it's kind of patchy.
Yeah.
And it's because the intent for this wasn't for it to be like filled.
Yeah.
Right. It's so if we had like a liquid eyeliner, Kay, like, you would be able to have that, like, hopefully in application, the evenness. But that's a great shape. That's a really good shape.
Yeah. It reminds me of like Aida, the musical, like the hats, like very Egyptian looking.
Quincy, were you always into makeup? How did you get into?
You know, it was
I'm trying to make this into something.
Let me see. I feel like in college was when I was like self-teaching myself on YouTube. Who was that famous Asian YouTuber? She was like the first one. She like works for Estee Lauder now, Michelle Pham. And so I was watching
I've heard of her.
Yeah, I was watching her stuff, just teach myself how to do club makeup. Fell off of it, and now it's kind of been rekindled, partially because of skincare. Like I'm so loving skincare right now. If you need an esthetician, let me know. I'll just plug her now. No.
Oh, I was like, what?
I know an esthetician. Her name is Jen Lee in K-Town. Go visit her, guys. She will change your life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's really great.
Number down.
Yeah.
Jen Lee.
Yeah, she's great.
Send me that info.
Oh, happy face.
A tongue.
Did you change your heart into a happy face?
I mean, I wasn't, the heart wasn't really happening. So I turned it.
Oh, and you know what I've seen? There's a new trend now. Somebody was like mad about it. Some like not with this makeup, but there are girls who do like a full face of makeup and then give themselves like freckles.
Oh my gosh. I could see that. I could see that being really super cute.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, like now I look like I have chicken pox, but you know, white chicken pox. Yeah, no, it just, I think, I don't know. I'm not like super heavy makeup as far as like, you know, Instagram girls who are like doing crazy looks, but like, I don't know. I feel like in another lifetime, I was probably a makeup artist. And like drag makeup is fun. I was doing drag for a little bit and like learning that. And I took a little bit of like costume makeup, like makeup for the stage.
Oh, cool.
We got to play around with. So I have like a base understanding, but like,
it's an art. It really is.
Yeah. There's some people doing like phenomenal things with makeup.
Yeah. It's so amazing. You're like literally painting on your face. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think this would be an interesting shape.
Yeah. And then filling that.
And filling it.
Yeah, okay. Like it almost looks like you have like two, like you created like a like, here, let me, like one eyelid, right? Yeah, like you created, I forget what it's called. It just escaped me. You have this, it looks like you did that. And then, so you have to figure out my shape.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's very like, you know, tribal looking. Like
I think that, but so for me, it's like, okay, well, because of the dots too, I think that's where like also being mindful, like making sure it looks like makeup and not like more paint.
Yeah.
Now it's starting to look messy
because we're just doing whatever.
Yeah, because I'm doing stuff on top of stuff. But yeah,
cool,
very cool,
awesome. Any
oh my god.
I made a bird.
Yeah.
A little bird.
Oh my god. It kind of almost like Charles Manson. Do you think that's what Charles Manson was doing? Just like graphic eyeliner gone wrong.
Oh no.
Wow. But that was a tattoo. No, that was a scar. He carved that into himself.
I don't know.
I'm not a big Charles. I'm not a big
I don't even know. Yeah.
Got this. Yeah.
Oh, he's the cult leader.
Yeah, but he had stuff on it. I don't even remember what he had on his face.
He has a cross on his forehead.
Oh. Does he?
Yeah, like the mark of something. I don't know. Sometimes I'll occasionally like look up cult stuff just because cults interest me.
I remember, I think they did like a not docu series, but like a made for TV movie about him played by Zac Efron or something like that. And I was
really?
Zac Efron played Charles Manson?
I think so. It was maybe it was some other like cult leader, serial killer type. I just remember like there's kind of a slew of those type of like, you know, made for TV limited series where they're like all like serial killers or like cult leaders. I'm just like, we need to stop, please. I don't want to see like these glamorized versions of these, you know, cult leaders, and it's just it's like made me feel icky.
It was Ted Bundy. I think he played Ted Bundy.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Just, yep. Another one of
Definitely
those.
glamorizing Ted Bundy.
Yeah. Well, I think that brings us to the end of the makeup portion and the end of our podcast for today. Susane.
Sorry, just looking at our faces.
I know.
I mean, I think
stuff.
It brings out the sense of play in the in for the makeup. But thank you so much, Susane, for joining us. Where would you like people to come find you, either on social media, or do you have anything specific you want to plug?
Yeah, social media is fine. It's my first and last name, Susane Lee, on Twitter or Instagram.
That's so simple and easy to find.
Great. Keeping it consistent. And if you'd like to reach out to us or find out more about Marvel Makeup, you can follow us on all social media at Marvel Makeup, or you can email us at marvelmakeuppod@gmail.com. Please rate and review and subscribe wherever you find your podcast.
And please give us 5 stars so that our Asian moms will know we don't complain about them for our entire podcast. It's just at the end.
Just at the end, just this little bit. So thanks everyone. Catch you next time on Marvel and Makeup.
Bye.
Marvel Makeup is hosted and produced by Quincy Cho and Kay Kanapu. Quincy is an actor-writer based in Los Angeles, California. Kay is a writer-performer for Filipino AF and an alum of the CBS Diversity Sketch Showcase. You can follow them on Twitter and Instagram at Quincy Dinosaur and at Kay Kanapu.
The music for Marvel and Makeup was composed by Clarence Yap, and our artwork was designed by Patty Lynn. You can find them on Instagram at Clarence_Yap and at pattylyn.jpg. See our show notes for even more info.
Marvel Makeup is also a member of the Potluck Podcast Collective, a network of Asian American hosted podcasts. Please check out our fellow Potluck pods by going to the website podcastpotluck.com.
Hello, I'm Phil Yu, and I'm the host of All the Asians on Star Trek, the podcast in which I interview all the Asians on Star Trek. I'm talking to actors, writers, directors, stunt people, background extras. You know, all the Asians on Star Trek. Find out more at alltheasiansonstartrek.com. Part of the Potluck Podcast Collective. Live long and prosper.
Thank you, Susane.
Thank you, guys. That was super fun.
Yeah, I hope you learned a lot about graphic eyeliner.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I do like the sense of play for sure.
And I will say, like, I started out with, then we started doing this podcast. I was very much like, teach me the rules. Tell me how to do it right. I know nothing. And now we've gotten more towards, just experimenting and being like,
I love that.
Learning how to trust my eye and being like, oh, I actually just like how that looks. So that's what I'm going to do, So
I love it.
like getting more towards that.
And Kay's learned to, now knows how to give herself a full face of makeup.
Yeah. Today I only
feel good about it.
Foundation because I knew we were going to do a lot with the eye, but I've come in with full faces at some points. And Quincy's like,
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.